It's time for another episode of my series Aperitif in Pairs, where I make nibbles and drinks that work well together. And this week we're getting really cozy and making something hot and warming for the soul, ready for bonfire night if you're in the UK, or just to celebrate the start of November and to get through the darker evenings. I'm serving up baked Camembert with a honey and walnut puff pastry crown and mulled cider. Now I'm going to start by making my mulling syrup, and no, it's not too early, don't start. So I like to make a big batch of this and then it's ready to go in the fridge anytime I want a mulled drink, and the syrup pairs really well with any drinks, wine, cider, any types of juices, you name it, so it's really handy. And I achieved this by reducing down some orange juice. That way you get the sugars from the oranges, but also you get those citrusy notes that work really well. And just infuse them with all your typical spices and let it reduce for a good 3 hours on a low heat until about a third of the volume has evaporated. Now we can get on to our cheese prep. So I'm going to take a Camembert and slice the top off it so that it's easily accessible for dunking. This Camembert was really nice and ripe, so I have to say I did have a little nibble on those extra bits on the side. No waste here. Then I'm just roughly chopping some walnuts, and now we're ready to assemble. So I've got a pre-bought ready rolled puff pastry, super simple, and I'm going to cut a hole in the middle the size of my Camembert, just a little bit over so that it can cover the sides later. I'm going to put that pastry lid to one side while I prep my pastry. So I want a thin layer of honey all across, so I'm using a heaped teaspoon and just spreading that across. And I was really excited because I actually found an affordable British honey, which was amazing. I mean, this is not at all an ad, I'm not being paid, but I was just amazed that Rouse actually had some British honeys now. I found them in Waitrose, but yes, it does exist. They were like £3 a pot. Incredible. Back to my pastry, I'm now scattering on those chopped walnuts all over. Finally, to shape the crown, I'm going for some twists that are easy to pull off with little swirls at the ends to give it a bit more surface area for excellent dipping material. You can be as precise and intricate as you want with this. As you can see, I have not been. I'm going a bit rough and ready because I just wanted this to be a quick and easy aperitif to make. So just cutting little strips, twisting them, and then rolling them up at the top and just arranging that as best I can around the center. Then I'm popping the pastry lid on top of the Camembert and tightening it around the edges to try and avoid leakage. But let's face it, cheese leakage is not that big a deal. It just makes the rest of the pastry already taste nice and cheesy. Honey and walnuts on top of the pastry, and then it's ready to bake for about 20 minutes at 180 degrees until it's nice and golden brown. And the pastry lid can be sliced off, and that will have ensured that the Camembert is cooked at an even temperature, so it's nice and gooey and runny throughout. It just needs to sit there for a few minutes to cool down, but I'm sneaking a little taste. While it's cooling down, I can make my mulled cider, and because the mulling syrup's already done, this is super quick and easy. Just mix equal parts of cider and apple juice in a saucepan, then add the mulling syrup and bring to the boil, and then you're done, ready to serve with a little apple garnish. Of course, you can make this with just apple juice if you want it to be non-alcoholic, or if you want it to be a little extra boozy, add a drop of whiskey in at the end. So I had a little look at the history of mulled drinks, and it can be traced back to the Romans in the 2nd century AD. They referred to it as Hippocras, so it's actually believed to have been invented before that by the ancient Greek Hippocrates as a health tonic. It was then spread across Europe by the Romans and gained extra popularity in France and Spain in the 13th century due to their ports for the spice trade. The monarchies across Europe then picked it up, notably the UK, where you can even find recipes for it in Tudor housekeeping books. It wasn't then until the late 19th century that it became associated with Christmas through German markets. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely bonfire weekend and this gets you through the darker evenings. Please like and subscribe for more every week.